Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's Friday.
What's up, everybody? Michael Silva here. If it's your first time watching my videos,
high five!
If you've been here before,
smash the like.
And I appreciate your time and attention. Fridays, they're crazy in the markets. A lot of patterns are broken because there's so much uncertainty, whether people want to go long into the weekend or short into the weekend or just get out completely. What you'll see today in my trading videos is a total of 4 trades. I made a profit of about $140. However, I ran into some struggles on trade number 2. See, I saw some weakness and the weakness was completely ignored and shot up to the upside still while I was short. Patterns don't always work out. So when it comes to trading, you gotta make sure that you're quick to get out when you need to be. If the market is telling you something, listen to it. Don't assume, don't guess, don't let your ego get in the way. It's very important to just follow the flow of what the market is doing. Without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into these 4 trades. Okay, so this is ticker symbol CAR, my first trade of the day. So we had a big gap down this morning. You can see that big old space right there. I know my screen's looking kind of crazy. And it showed some strength right around here and bounced up. I'm thinking that this is just a dead cat bounce. So it bounced up. It's right here by this previous candle's wick, and it formed somewhat of a wolf candle. So I'm gonna hold in tight to this, and I think it's gonna start turning back around. So let's see how this plays out. So that candle that just formed right here, let me move that out of the way. That is an indecision candle at its finest. Like, quite literally, it is a perfect indecision. Same side, same wicks on both sides, and it's very thin body. So what that is basically saying is like, hey, do the bulls want to take over, continue to the upside, or do the bears want to take over? It's hard to say. My entry point's here for the short side, and I'm still feeling pretty strong about short position here. The only thing that I do notice is the MACD is looking like it's kind of curling over, but I don't know if that's going to be enough to hold weight because it's below the 0. Okay, that's important. If it was above the 0 crossing over, that might hold a little bit more weight. And then we have the stochastics. The stochastic indicator is pushing about 90 almost, which, you know, is to me a little bit oversold. So I think we will probably see the pullback here soon. Not oversold. I always do that. I always get oversold and overbought confused. I feel like you guys would know what I mean when I say that, but yeah, basically overbought, and now it's going to come back down a little bit. That yellow line is a price target. I'm going to be trying to take 250 shares off the table if it hits it. Okay, so it hit my first price target. Now I'm going to let the other remainder kind of work for me. Okay, so I took those 250 shares off the table here, took some nice good profits. Now my objective is to just follow the candles downward until I get basically stopped out. So when this candle finishes forming, my stop loss is gonna go from, well, I don't have a stop loss yet, but basically my mental stop loss is up here. Okay, my mental stop loss is right above these candles. It's gonna go right to the above of the high of this candle, and it's gonna constantly work itself downward unless if I get stopped out. Okay, so I just got finally stopped out. It loaded. So I got to, this is what's cool. I entered here, it came down. I sold, I bought back some of my share, half of my position, 250 shares. I took a $145 profit, and it came back up to my entry point, and I got stopped out. Now, this might still move more to the downside, or it might potentially break out to the upside. But what is cool is I'm out of the position and I'm up $145 for the day. So can't complain there. Not too shabby. Okay, this is ticker symbol CAR again here. So glad that I took my profits and got stopped out, because otherwise I'd just be sitting up here, right? So it's very important, especially on the short side, to be aggressive and take your profits. With that said, I am now back into it, and I came back in because if you look at the overall context of this chart, it is very bearish. And right now it formed a wolf candle, okay, a hanging man, or whatever the hell you want to call it, inverted hammer, into the 50 SMA, okay? So I believe that right around this area is where, I mean, it could come back up to here. I'll probably have my stop loss above this candle. But right around this point, I think some steam is gonna start slowing down. We're gonna start seeing move to the downside. So I'm in for 500 shares. Let's see how this one plays out. Okay, so I got stopped out of that trade. I am now down $225 for the day. I wiped out my early morning gains of one something. So this trade I lost quite a bit. It's weird because it is still just running up like a monster pretty significantly, even in bearish context. If the opportunity again presents itself, I might jump in. This wolf candle, that's a complete fake out. That typically with this kind of momentum, you might see downpull, but what I'll wait for is that MACD to start curling over a little bit and potentially trade back into it or look for another opportunity. If not, I'm just going to take a $225 loss for the day. So we will see. Okay, so I found an interesting situation here. Very similar to looking like the previous ticker symbol, but this is Uber, ticker symbol UBER. It looks like there's a lot of data points right here, meaning that there's a big wall that it's going to be hard to get past. So I'm going to basically have my stop loss just above this. Okay. And I feel like we're looking at the MACD, the volume's kind of dying off. It looks like it's going to be curling over here. So I might flutter around in this area for a little bit, but ultimately I think it's going to be going more to the downside after this big kind of run up. And it's so interesting, like if you look at these candles, it was very similar to what happened to CAR. So the market's playing, it's being a little tricky right now. I can probably look back at CAR and it probably trace this pattern. If this breaks down, that one's probably going to break down. It looks like everything's moving together. But let's just see here how this plays out. I'm 500 shares short at this green line for my entry. Okay, I'm out of the trade. That was a great drop right there. Now, it still might go more to the downside, but I wanted to make sure that I capture in those profits. I'm only now down $11.50 for the day. Sha-da-da-da-da-da-da-dang, baby. Okay, this is back at ticker symbol CAR. I mean, I want to call it quits for the day, but this is just a killer opportunity. It's forming a descending triangle in overall bearish context of the chart. Like I said previously, there's that wolf candle, so it has brought and come back down. You know, it just took a while to get there. But here's what I'm seeing. I have an entry point right here at this green line. But you see how it's making, when it dropped off, and now it's making lower highs all the way down, and it has this kind of support area right into this range. I'm speculating that it's going to break through to the downside, come through to this, and then probably fall down more into this range around the VWAP. So let's go ahead and see how this one plays out. I'm going to go ahead and get this adjusted. Okay, yeah, let's see how this one plays out. So my stop loss would technically be right above the highest point here of the descending portion of the triangle. All right, so I was scaling out of my position 100 shares at a time, and I got my final 100 down here. Look at it, broke through it, it flushed. I don't want to sit here and wait for it because typically what happens is they flush and they come to back test, so it can move lower, but I'm interested in making quick scalps, especially right now. So it broke down, sold 100, sold 100, sold 100, sold 100, and then basically sold all the way out to my position. I'm up $141 for the day. That's basically where I was when I first started, and then I kind of got sidetracked. So I think it was 5 trades total, up $141. I'm done for the day. Shabam! Not too, say it with me, not too shabby.